All right, here we go again. Buckle up. I had to go through like 3 or 4 browsers to get something to work. Oh well, starting to cool off a little bit. Nice day. So, if you don't want to use cheese, like regular cheese on a pizza, you can make like a kind of white pizza with yogurt. And when you bake it, the yogurt gets to a kind of, I wouldn't say a cottage cheese, but it's almost like a cottage cheese uh, texture, but a little different still. So you take some garlic, right? You throw it in and roast it a little bit in a pan or a pot, and then you take of course you use like a tablespoon I would use of olive oil. Then you can take like some sort of fake meat if you want, or if you're a person who eats meat, you can put meat in there. You brown that with the garlic, and of course you put like garlic and put oregano, and you can put fresh vegetables or onion powder, however you want to do it. At the end when it's all cooked up a little bit, cooked up enough, and then you take. I took like fake beef tips that I got, steak tips. They're just trying to confirm my VA appointment. I got to go do that real quick in a bit. I don't know. It's not working now. What happened? I'm trying to see if this is working now. Test, test, test. Looks like it's working. So the VA was calling and got in the middle. So when you get all that cooked up, you put like zero fat yogurt because Greek yogurt because it's very healthy. You put that you mix that all together, but you don't want to cook the Greek yogurt really at that point. It's just the pot's going to be warm from cooking, right, with a pan, and then you put your yogurt in there, and you mix it up. Then you put it on top of a ready-made pizza crust, and you bake it. And you could broil the top for a little bit if you wanted it, but it has a texture of almost of cheese when you're done. It's really it's a good flavor, really good flavor. It's great flavor actually, and very healthy, of course. You don't have to find like, of course, see how that happens. I find 0% cheese, and what happens? I find a way to cook without the mozzarella cheese, right? Like nothing you do actually is beneficial. Right? They're just very, very strange people. So, but then if you want to do a no dairy, which I might go to because I'm suffering with these allergies so bad, I might go. You can use mashed potatoes, but when you use mashed potatoes, I tried to make it like a white sauce. I don't think that works. I'm not fond of that. But what you can do is kind of make it into a uh, kind of like a meat pie, and you use the mashed potato. Like you lay out a pizza crust, and you take the mashed potatoes. And well, actually, you do okay. Let's say I use my fake steak tips. I brown that in a pot. Then I put some when it's cooked up and browned. I take some. I'm using a garlic and all that other stuff too, right? And then all the spices. Then I take the water and I put it in there and let it heat up. You don't even have to make it warm, and then pull it off the burner. Put your instant mashed potatoes in there. Right. Stir it up. that's pretty good just like that. But if you lay it out on a pizza crust, a thin pizza crust, that, you know, that browns, it's like a, I know what I went inside for, and then I walked away without doing it. How you doing? Oh my God, bro. So it's like a pie, like a meat pie, like a turkey pot pie or something like that, but a little different, right? Or a shepherd's pie. When you're vegetarian, you have to come up with all sorts of stuff. But I've been like going now. My allergies flared up like I think in February or something, even before. It was just horrible, and my apartment might be killing me too. I don't know. Yeah, my lease is should have went to a month to month. I should just sort of stayed there. Right. Whoa. So they're trying to get me to go off the deep end and yell at them. You're beginning to realize that I'm totally in control and have been. Thank you, Larry. Well, that's my life. I mean, obviously you've done this for decades, and you're obviously trying to kill me. Right. Routinely disabled me worse and worse. No, it's not normal aging, especially for a guy that was as healthy as I was. Right. Sorry. You buy those Allen coffee drinks. Don't. I don't know how the vanilla is, but definitely don't. I don't like the mocha, but the caramel is pretty good. It's probably. I don't know what was in. I know there was a lot of like the supplements I buy. There's a lot of in the one. It's like a muscle relaxing supplement, but it's nothing really, not like drugs, but it has a lot of stuff in there that could have side effects. I knew that going in, and then they have an inflammation one that I use safer. Right, and it's probably good for your blood pressure because there's uva ursa in there and dandelion root, but just make sure you drink a lot of liquid with it because it's like a diuretic aspect to it. So yeah, but I took that one. Oh God, when I was in that massage, getting that massage, I'm like, oh my God, the hell is this? So it wasn't him. The muscle relaxer. So I contacted Instacart, and they apparently refunded my money. That's nice of them. I told them, look, this stuff got me sick, and I was actually hallucinating off of it, and they kicked the fine. They own me anyway. Like Indians, people from India own a lot of those companies, and they all owe me. I mean, actually, I would have married one of their daughters, and I don't mean like a young girl. I mean, Well, I can't get anywhere in this country. I can't get overseas, and I can't get myself overseas, so nothing ever worked. Right. Thank you, Larry. So again, you know how the traffic extortionists, right? Or at least know if they're operating. Just as though. Right. Well, it came up that's possibly going on. It's their story. Thanks, Larry. But I can't investigate any further than I did. So back to Trump. He's all mad at. Yeah, Rose said it the wrong way, I think. Right. But he's right. You gotta get to. Well, again, he should explain it to the way I explained it to you. you're going to hit a wall, and the Republican Party's going to hit a wall, and then it's going to be over. The party's going to be over because you can't get through that wall. I agree. Well, you don't. Again, you don't want appellate court and Supreme Court case law going against your stuff because it's gonna block a whole bunch of things in the future. Is she walking different dogs like this? I'm seeing people walk these Australian cattle dogs. I wonder if they're breeding them. Because you're in an apartment. I had an Australian cattle dog in an apartment. Boy, you got to take them out all the time. Right. You know, but at this stage of my life, like since I owned a van, I would like have no reason to own anything else. Right. I mean, it's great. Like if you think, well, what about this vehicle? This vehicle, they're kind of the same, like a Santa Fe or a Trax, but the door doesn't slide. Like you push the button, the door goes. The other thing I hate is that I didn't know there was two models of the van that I bought, the Quest, and I wanted the upscale, and I didn't know that existed. Right. Right. Because it had the lift gate that automatically goes up and all that. Right. It's not a bad van, actually. I mean, the it's a great engine. I don't care what anybody says. It's one of the most powerful vans that I've ever driven, like minivan, but it's got good size and it's not too small. I mean, in this day and age, the Mini is actually smaller. Back in the day, that was a minivan. Right. So, so it's mini, and it's got power, and it also handles. I mean, that Nissan Quest, they stopped making them, but that was a great van. I went and I was just like, well, maybe I should have bought the Dodge. I tried to get it traded for the Dodge because the Dodge is in better condition. I didn't realize it had so many dings and stuff. And I'm kind of almost glad I didn't. I drove a Dodge when I actually had uh, that accident in that van with the trailer when I was bringing it back from Houston. And a woman actually ran into me. There's no doubt. Right. Obviously the deep state screwed up that finding. Right. There's no way they could find it to be her fault. Right. Actually, you know what? I never did get a chance to take care of it. See, this is why they attacked me. I found out they put it as 3/4 my fault, which is bullshit. Right. It's supposed to be like a quarter my fault. Right. No, they had it half. They had it half. They had it half. Right. But I was trying to work with Lexus and Nexus, and actually they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't. There's no way to change it. So what do you mean there's no way to change it? The Texas found that it was only a quarter my fault, and it's not even that. Right. Thanks, three. Well, they actually were great vans. I mean, so I went and got my tires put on the front, and the guy says, "This got 63,000 miles or something." He's like, "Man," I said, "Yeah, but it's beat up, man." I mean, as far as the way it looks, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, a Nissan Quest goes at least 140,000 miles, probably. So, yeah, and I guess the appearance is somewhat dated because they're all going with kind of that flat front end. But like here, this vehicle, it's I don't know, a Rav4, but it has doors, and it just and is like so superior. You press the button and thing slides, whoop, and it's like wide open. So yeah, people don't, I guess it's cheaper to buy one with a door instead of a sliding door. But again, I recommend vans if you have families, or even if you're an older person. transport things. Why put it in the trunk? You got all that space. I pretty much drive the van with the seats down, so it's just wide open in the back. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. No, it's just like no reason to buy anything else. If you're looking for a utilitarian vehicle that fits like 50 different things, it's just so easy. Just you push the button, the door slides, and the van opens. Right. How you doing? All right. I just look so whack. All the different ways I carry my phone. This one is just like laying on my shoulders. It's almost like it's like a rope wrapped around me or something. This is like the easiest way, most comfortable. Man, my walking is like, I don't know. I'm off on my walk today. Everything is like very difficult. I don't know. Maybe I just hitting that edge or something. I don't know. Maybe that person. I just remembered I got to get donuts or pizza for these people. See, I told you, as soon as I tell the guy, I'll get reminded. I told the maintenance guy yesterday, I forgot to do that. I said, I don't want to do it. I didn't forget necessarily. I want to do it. I said, didn't want to do it when there was a complaint up in the air, right? Like I was paying you off. Right? So, I don't know if I want to do donuts and coffee, or I want to do pizza with them. Right? I just get kind of warm, so I guess coffee's warm too. Probably coffee. Pizza in the middle of the day is a little hot right now, I guess. Right. I could do it at night too. I don't know when they do it. I just give them the gift card. Right. No, I gotta keep going. I gotta keep walking. Yeah, I heard a bunch of these people against the insiders that a bunch of people that did this to me got condos or houses in Naples, Florida. Right. It's one of their payoffs. They were getting paid back then, man. Just I didn't know what was going on. Thanks, Larry. I mean, they're all hanging out and they see it that people attack me, and then all of a sudden they get a house in Naples, Florida. Everybody, wants to do it. And of course, I'm not the only victim. Oh, the world's a big scam. Whole world's a scam. Oh well, yeah, with Trump, yeah. So again, you want to try to lighten it up, and again, you can reverse what you did, but you got to do it to do it. Right. Has that woman got a shirt on? Trying to figure out. Well, if she's trying to attract me, she's doing a good job. So it could be an agent or one of their bait people. She's got a short mini skirt on, kind of a tighter shirt, and then she's like fixing her hair. She's walking into the rape zone. I'll heal that because that might have been the indication I need to heal that down there. So again, patrols. Oh, she's running. Patrols. In the wooded areas. I don't know how much you can do that. I don't know if you got bicycle cops that can run those routes. Thanks, Larry. We can heal that. Yeah, I bring that up every year. As people move out into the parks and the rail trails and all the walking trails, we need to be cognizant of safety. I mean, because again, they could get raped and murdered like 30 feet off the trail sometimes, or even less. Right. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, bike cops would be the best thing, like the rail trail system or the trail system in Olathe over in the park, whatever you call that thing. Well, you hire cops for just that, or you promote, and then they backfill. But hey, just get on bicycles and ride those rail trails all day. At least the presence could, cause people to, you know, be cautious about, or not people, criminals, be cautious about committing crimes on the trails. Right. Yeah, if you have a urban or suburban trail system, you should have bike cops patrolling it regularly, as regular as you can. Obviously, you can't control it, or you can't patrol everything all the time. But, so somebody will tell the sheriff, I think he's going for your job. That's the kind of shit they used to say. Even when I was out of the marshal service, like, what's he doing? He's trying to politic. Wow. Yeah, I'm out of energy, man. I have no idea what it is. I was walking for hours the other day. Maybe because I just, right, didn't replenish, didn't rest. Oh, I know what it is. Right. I sprayed magnesium like later in the day today, not early. Not too much in the evening. So it's in my system, and I don't have that much caffeine. I had a coffee this morning. That's what it is. Oh my God. Thanks, Larry. Well, I'm like I said before, I'll bring it up again, and I guess Santos also brought it up somewhere in between, in a certain way. Immigration judges. You need immigration judges, and that's how you do it. Right. And you should have Zoom court for immigration. Again, and then just focus on who you said you were going to. If somebody's a court date, let the court date come and go. I mean, right. And again, some of the employers are in here that just picked up that vibration. You got to hire somebody, short notice because you grabbed them off the street. And work visas. So I don't know how you plan to do that. I'm trying to get some energy to at least go 10, 15 minutes. Well, it's just not going to work. Okay, so this is the point. Before you ever get anywhere with your plan, they're going to shut it down because everybody's going to vote against the Republican Party. Right. You're not going to get anywhere. I'm the seer, okay? I see. Right. I told you Trump wasn't going to jail. He's going to be too old to go to jail this time, but people aren't. Right. Well, here's what's going on. You see that guy, the FBI former assistant director or something, and he said that Kash Patel goes to the club all the time. That guy and his cronies are just waiting. They'll be back in there. Right. Right. Well, that's why they came out at this point. Because they know they're going to get back in now. Trump's people are loony. Well, you're. It's like you're committing Harry Carey. I got a floss. I knew I had a floss. I just couldn't think of what it is I wanted to do. I was in my park going, I want to do something. What do I do? What's up with my tooth? Thanks, Larry. Well, that's why I told you not to go crazy because then it's just less friction always works better. Let them create the friction. No, I mean they know now that they're going to be back in. They weren't sure in the beginning. Right. I think you've pissed off enough people that you can't recover. But you might be able to if you start now. But again, what I'm telling you to do is be that administration that I'm saying fool people again. Right. Well, but you can't. You can't deport all the people that are working immigrants. You can't do it. It doesn't work. What are you nuts, all of you? Correct, Larry. We agree, Larry. Because that's what happened. That's what was causing the inflation in the beginning. Biden didn't go into the administration spending money. Okay, inflation was already there. Right. Right. Paulson. There it is. Thanks, Larry. So one of the things that happened was that we deported too many immigrants, and immigrants went home for a while because there were no jobs. Right. It's like half imitation roast, and you get like it's like a string, the string of the meat, right? But it's like fake meat. So we deported too many immigrants, and we had to bring them back in to work those jobs. And again, a lot of people had died too, so there's additional jobs to cover. A lot of people started retiring because they started saying, how much life do I really have left? Right. It's not going to happen the way we're just going to put the Americans to work. It's not going to happen the way you think it is. Right. And again, yeah, some of it is like disrespectful because undocumented immigrants have done a lot of work in this country. And everybody knew they were here. Right. Most of the people you have trouble with don't hold down a job. Right. So again, like I said, that should be the delineation. It should have been the delineation, except if the person's disabled. Like if somebody's going for a amnesty and they're disabled, obviously, they probably can't hold down a job. And yeah, if they're disabled, they might be discriminated against and harmed in their nation. Who knows? Right. What I'm getting at is that I've got the books. I can't get on the road here. Right. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, my van's not really bad looking, but it's dinged up, and you get close, you see it. But it's nice. I mean, they're nice vans. And they have a little bit of size to them compared to some of the other vans. Right. I just couldn't afford to go like to a Pacifica or something like that. But with the money I borrowed recently, it's like I did. I have a higher payment, but I paid it off. I mean, but I can't afford to buy a new van or a new vehicle. Thanks, Larry. No, I don't think it's the water from the rinse. Some of it is thinning, so we'll see if. And I sneezed today. That's a sign. I know when my sinus are screwed up. Usually I don't sneeze, and then when they start getting better, I start sneezing. They start coming back on. Right. Thank you, Larry. I'm telling you, isn't like, oh, he's such a libtard. Oh, he's doing us. It isn't that. I'm a seer. This is what you have to do. Right. So again, try to give people a benefit of the doubt. If they're an immigrant and they're undocumented, waiting for a court date. I mean, if they don't have a court date, then they're in trouble. But if they got a court date and they're working, these people have been in this country for at least 100 years, doing work that nobody else wants to do. Well, everything's going to go up in price if the bosses all have to hire Americans. In a lot of cases. So make that a delineation. I mean, if somebody is just working like the one guy, I think he ended up in CCOT. He's just working his ass off somewhere. He's only like 18 or 19 years old, I think. Well, he had a tattoo of Elmer Fudd, I hear. They say that's a sign that he's in a gang. Looney Tunes, right? Must be with administration. Looney Tunes gang. Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Larry. No, you're committing Harry Carey. Right? You're killing yourselves. And then your power ends up ebbing. Right? Then you don't have power to do anything. Right? Because when you're wrong that much, you lose power. Right. Thanks, Larry. Well, I just think it'll work better, and then you can focus on the larger mission. Well, we need information about the narcotics distribution coming out of smuggling coming out of Mexico. We need people to feel like to us, and they'll get somewhere, and we might give them something. Right. We need to go back to that. Now they're afraid to say anything because you'll throw them out of the country. Right. So again, if somebody's working like Home Depot or working, Starbucks, and I mean, as long as you don't see any trouble with them, let them stay. Again, I it just seems like I don't know how it works, but maybe it's just a lot of that gang membership could just be fraud. officers just saying, every time they say that to get an up or something, oh, he's one of our best officers. He finds all the gang members. Right. Believe me, there's a lot of liars in law enforcement. A lot of liars. Thanks, Larry. So again, guy gets a detective position. He wants to, make himself look like a star, or even just an officer, interviewing gang members or people transporting people. Again, they might be ignorant. Thanks, Larry. So what do I think about Abrego being Abrego Garcia being a wife? Maybe is it? Man, women play games all the time. And if he is, he's not outside the norm of the average young El Salvadorian getting drunk. His wife getting drunk. All right. Thank you. Well, again, construction for dirt cheap. You got people doing agricultural work for dirt cheap. What are you expecting? Although the best and the brightest, well, then your tomato will cost you, instead of a couple of dollars, it'll cost you $20. Again, if you try to raise the labor costs in those farms, or if you do that, the price is just going to skyrocket. A salad is going to be like the price of it costs that much, even with cheap vegetables. But like the rest of us don't want Mar-a-Lago-based salads. Hey, go to Mar-a-Lago. It's like a $50 salad that you get everywhere else for like $8. And that's the point. People are going to see it that way. Like you pay $80 for a salad anyway. Right. But of course, your Mar-a-Lago salads then would be like $200. Thanks, Larry. Believe me, if you keep going in this direction, they're going to do everything they can to put an impeachment scenario together. Believe me. I mean, people will vote uncharacteristically because you're going to tank everybody's money. Now a lot of people can't even move into the new house that you were planning to buy. You've already kind of did something there. Now we were supposed to build new houses. What happened? Wasn't that part of the Trump thing too? I know Kamala Harris was going to do that. Build new houses in new apartment complexes. No, we're going to build rockets and have entertainment. I tried to warn all of you. Right. Because that's how you're coming across all of you. Right. Well, at this point, it looks like you fooled the people, unless you deliver something different. Well, they'll be, you fooled people into voting for you, and then you tell them, if your kid's got $20, they don't need $20, they'll have $2, and it'll be a little more expensive for each dollar. I mean, I'm just telling you, you're going to hit a wall with that. You're not going to get you got the up because you weren't the incumbent. You're not going to get it at the midterms. Right. Oh, there's a way out of it, like right now. Like in my life, if you just would have pulled them off of my life 5 years ago or 6 years ago, it would have been over. I would have moved on, and I got my VA money, and everything would have worked. Right. So it turns out, like I said, I'm still trying to contact my lawyer. They could block the email, so I'm not sure if they're doing that. Right. But I wrote another email to a bunch of them, the lawyer, the paralegal, and everyone else, because we got to get the request for medical records in first, or then we end up waiting for medical records. And I said, look, how do you want me to do this? Right. I need to get the medical records to you, right? The ones that are in the hospitals and stuff. But again, if they block it, then it doesn't get. They already showed me they can block my my and like let them go maybe 3 years later. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Larry. Go back to the system that I described. Just do it. You're already, like I said, you're already deporting more than Joe Biden as far as how it works. Again, if you got 3,000 come in and you deport 1,000, that's 2,000. That's a 2,000 number that's going to be here. Right. If you got 500 coming in and you deport 500, that's a zero. All right. So get your mind wrapped around the fact that you're already just by the even if you didn't deport anybody, you're but by the number that dropped. I forget what we 8,000 a month or something. Right. So you're already deporting more than Joe Biden with that. Correct. Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Larry. Whew. Almost an hour. You're like if I talk to a doctor, I say I can't exercise without coffee, and then I gain weight, my blood pressure goes up. He'd tell me to drink coffee. So it's just I know, and I saw it. I actually had stopped coffee, but I was taking muscle relaxers and I was needing coffee. And how you doing, Mister Bicycle Rider? Whew, whew, whew. Tired. Worn out. So, like, I'll tell you why I was worried about my hearing aid, like, getting lost. Well, I get these hearing aids, and they're a little smaller, which they sit better, in the ear. And I got black ones because I got black glass frames, glasses frames. So, nothing else is going to hide at all. I touched my glasses when these Arabic people drove by, and she looked worried. So in the rearview mirror, I gave them a high sign and up. Hopefully, a little paranoid about something. I feel that just wasn't signing them, but somebody may have been stalking them. They might be nervous. Be sure not oppressing the Arabic people. So, nah, if they didn't do this to me, I'd still be out there riding my bike, having a good old time. Right. Thanks, Larry. Thanks. If you deport too many people, you'll screw up the economy. You really will. And like I said, the union guys are used to having the immigrant labor because the union guy is like almost like a supervisor. I mean, they work, but right, they're like, like if the union guy is in charge if the big boss isn't there. That's generally how it works. And the immigrants are the labor. So right, you're going to screw all that up. It looks like the longshoremen are going to be laid off. Right. And their boss don't care. He just takes the money and runs. Right, that's the way they all are. Thank you, Larry. Well, they said the ship traffic's way down, which means the longshoremen ain't going to have work. Automated and, or, AI or not. Correct, Larry. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Probably doesn't work. I don't think it works. Right. But if you get rid of the immigrants, then it's going to lean towards labor, union work. Thank you, Larry. Well, they don't want. Again, you're tanking a lot of people's money, and that's what's setting them into motion. Like my older brother really isn't. He still thinks some of it's like bizarre, but he's like this anti-entitlements guy, and I think that's why he backs Trump still, kind of more than he normally would. Well, because you probably cost him quite a bit of money. So again, a lot of people are going to start turning against administration because you're tanking their money. Well, they put you in to help with the money, supposedly. Yeah, I gotta get this phone I'm on now doesn't have an app for my hearing aids, and I need to hear the leaf blower. Ah, thanks, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not doing this to. Actually, I'm helping you. If you do what I say, you'll do much better. Well, a lot of the inflation was covered by wages, right? But I don't know if that's going to happen with what's going to happen. Right? I mean, it wasn't a one for one, but boy, I know I made a lot more money when Biden left than when he got in there. All right, I bet you my apartment in Mexico. It's funny, it's in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I bet you it's almost the same price as I paid when Trump was there in the first time. Right. I don't think it went up that much. And like this apartment I'm in now, $1,200. That's not bad. Right. So although food went up, I think even in some cases the cost of the apartments went down. Right. So I paid $300 for the 1 bedroom apartment, but it's 9 foot ceilings. It's not bad. Nice exterior, kept up pretty well. Right. And $1,000 for that garage. Right. $1,300, and you know when I was in Santa Fe, I was paying like $730 for a little studio, no garage. Well, actually, I paid 100 and something for a storage unit. So I mean, it really, that's like 6 years or something, 7 years. That's not bad difference in price. But I wonder if that is the same price because it stayed the same price, like 730 for a long time. If I had to do over again, I wouldn't have jumped because I just, the same thing, and I spent all that money. Missionary again, right? And the weird part is when I left, somebody else came in as the one in the office. It just got weird, and I'm like, I'm just getting out of here. Right. My goal was to get the massage, and that barely happened. Ugh. Yeah, for some reason my hearing aids just feel like they're up real high. Yeah, they're up. Well, your ears have to adjust. I didn't know it takes like a year. They said to like adjust. Yeah, yeah. Your ears are turning up certain frequencies. Your ears have to turn those back down. Right. Let's see what these are. Casa de Bella. Casa de Bella, Santa Fe, New Mexico. It was always a great deal, even for like a month just to stay, right? Like an extended stay, right? They used to do month to month or casitas to bill. Oh, I mean, I would have stayed if I didn't know the world was that crazy. But yet I was being psyop to leave, right? No, I went to Oklahoma to go find a church, maybe a nice apartment. That was it, right? What offer? Saying there's like an offer here. I'm like, there's no offer here. See there. I want to see if they have any pricing here. Okay, so this one has went up a bit. Yeah, I mean, a 478 square foot, which is what I was in, is 1,025 per month. It was like 730. Yeah, so again, I mean, wow, I'm doing pretty good here. I wonder if they cleaned up that place at all. So it's 895 for the small one. Deposit 300 for the big one. That's big studios for a month. Oh, wait a minute. What the hell? Oh, yeah, that's it. Wait, there's three different. 249. That was really small. So it's 1,025. The apartment I have. I was paying like 730. But if that's 1,025, I'm paying 1,200 for that. It's a lot more for the money. A better neighborhood. Way better neighborhood, probably. Yeah, unless they cleaned it up. I don't know. Thank you, Larry. TripAdvisor. Terrible 1.5. Actually, location is really good. 3.5 is low for location. You're actually not going to find a better situation in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Young people or something. His friend says, apartments, not motel or hotel. Low quality, dirty, overpriced apartments, complex, not motel or hotel. There is no daily rate, only monthly, 6 month and 12 month. And for the price and the Motel 6 size, it could seat to the living room. You get a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment elsewhere. I doubt that. Right? You can't get something in Santa Fe for that price. Right? Homeless camp out in the halls. Things do not get repaired. Right. To work around Tempe, I heard breaking glass, dots, door slamming, screaming. My upstairs on the TV nightstand, there, stuff flying out the window. That's I say such horrible things there. Yeah, I was psychologically operated to leave. I would have stayed if I'd known the rest of the world was this crazy, right? It would save myself a lot of health and a lot of money. Right? But reality is, I couldn't get to any massages there. I just every time I went, somebody was manipulating it. No, actually, that place used to be called the Warren Inn, and it used to be like movie crews would stay there, right? Firefighters would stay there. It was a good deal. I mean, in Santa Fe, you're going to have narcotics use. Right? You're just not going to get away with that close to the border. It's going to be there. Correct. Right? Unless you're like in a gated community. It actually has a history where the movie crews would stay there, and it almost worked. Again, I was good for that place because they started getting some of the business again. They started getting and everything, and then probably fell apart again after I left. Right? The meth dealers came back in and took over. Right? At least there, I had people like I go to a store and talk to people that had knew who I was. Now some of them were operating, being jerks, but so I can go out in the daytime and walk around and I get conversation with people. Right. Hi, Lawrence. How are you? How you doing? How's the husband? How's the kids? Yeah, they brought in people from outside, crews of people to take over the city, and that's how they did me. Right. I paid millions of dollars, I'm sure. A guy that's talking about Trump now and how he, or Cash saying how he's gonna, he just goes to bars. As he said about me, of course, I ain't go to any bars. You don't see him hanging out at night at the casinos, do you? Oh, where is he? Oh, he's at the gay bars. Well, I don't know. He's online here making smudges out of pinyon pine. No, you have to do what I say. Believe me, or it's going to fall apart. Correct. You just have to figure out. You haven't even been working on it, I guess. You have to figure out how to get the additional immigration judges. And the best way to do that is to bring the chief immigration judge in, sit down with Holman and everybody else, and say, "Well, how can we, effectuate the system we want to effectuate without, using not going to use the Alien Enemies Act?" Right. Right. So how do we do it with system? Again, don't go crazy. Let people work. If you get to the point where you get rid of everyone else, then maybe. But right. Right. That it's not only will the tariffs drive up China, but if you get rid of all the immigrant labor costs will go up. You sound like Biden now because you're saying, "Oh, but we'll have higher wages." Thanks, Larry. Things only sustain what they'll sustain. Always remember that. So this idea that you're going to alter something to make it so much better, it's probably not possible. Although you could a little bit. Somebody moving in there. Here's some lights. There's some lady went in. She's putting up her deck lights. Thanks, Larry. Whew. Where am I at? I got an hour in? I got an hour, but I was in my apartment for a little bit of it. Where are the geese? Hot. Flying north. Up to Canada. Well, if we're going to take on the narcotics and Max show, we're going to need some people to be with us. Right? Be a coalition. Well, I just, when it comes to Elon, I know what system Elon made his money in. I wasn't like just talking shit. So he took on the system where he made his money, and then they stopped giving him money. Well, they're being a jerk. Elon is being a jerk. Everything's bad. Otherwise, as to whether he's more honest in the program he's killing, I don't know. You don't know. Sure, Big Balls isn't going to audit Elon stuff. Well, because then he won't have a job, right? Right. Ooh, it's a little warm. I should have walked later too. Boy, it's still a little warm. How you doing? And that's the point. Right. Now we're all addicts to Elon stuff. Right. Perhaps we're too heavy-handed, but still, tit for tat never works. Because then it's tit for tat tit. Right. And that's where you're going in 2 to 4 years. Unless you get real and do it right. Thank you, Larry. Well, but you can't get anywhere doing what you're doing. You got some people at CCOT, you got some, but it's just a mess because the judges expect you to fix everything. Well, the judges sit on a lot of your cases. I can't vouch for how your other cases are going because I don't know what's going on in the courtroom. You start talking about impeaching court judges, they, might bite your people when they come in for other cases because they're being nice and they're not going to be nasty, and they can be nasty. Family, oh, them sons of guns. If you lose focus on the court family, then they'll lose focus on the court. Right. It's this idea where the Justice Department and they work for the probation, they're all part of what's called the court. But if you don't honor the court family, then they probably won't honor the court family, which means they might give you a break here or there because you're part of the court family. Well, nobody told you how government worked, but your prosecution stats might drop, or your cases take twice as long to try. Right. So the judge is going to help you. Thank you, Larry. And flush it out. They dropped my can of coffee. I pushed it over, but they did it. I know when it's done. They whammied it. Cursed my coffee. That's pretty weird, though. It's like right in front of my face. It's looking for something earlier. It's like right in front of my face. Your best bet is just to pay me, and probably God would take you up. You probably see everything and do it. You may not be able to see it as long as you have a big debt for, in my case and other cases. Right. No, I got to keep walking. I got blood pressure. Right. No, there's a lot of new faces here in the development. I guess in the last 6 months, a lot moved in, and I haven't been out there much. Okay, so you sent me a message. Oh, it's got to be on this phone because they're going to send the code over here. Well, there's a point that God may not be allowing you to see because you did such horrible things to people. I know Republicans have deep state people, okay? Right. Well, because it's obvious that you're blind. You're spiritually blind. You can't, or seer blind. You can't see anything. You're moving in directions that are gonna cause you to hit a wall. Which means you can't figure out where you're supposed to be with all that. Because again, it's like investing $100,000 in the wrong thing. You're going to be broke one day, right? And that's what the administration's doing. They have to stop that. They have to work with people. You only deport people that are the people you said you were going to deport. Don't somebody's working a 9 to 5 and they have a court date in 5 months. You don't deport them. If you drive up wages, it's going to drive up the cost. He's going to have inflation right behind that. No, it doesn't mean, again, you made fun of that with Biden. It doesn't mean you're going to cover the inflation. In fact, you got a lot of people that had money and still have some money, but they're really mad because they got less money. And they're business owners and stuff. They might just price gouge, and make you look stupid to cover the money you lost them. See? That's why I didn't understand why the prices didn't come down. I mean, Biden's market was so well. People were so wealthy. I have no idea why they were price gouging. Well, the earnings reports are going to look pretty bad. I mean, what you're going to do is you're going to make Biden look famous. I mean, his market was damn good, and there was pretty good earnings in a lot of the corporations. There was just simple inflation. I believe some of that was just price gouging. My wages went up. I can't complain 100%. I mean, obviously, it didn't cover everything, but I'll tell you what, this place here, from what I'm paying, it's really not that bad compared to. Right, other places, and that could just be this economy here. I don't know, here in Kansas. So again, what I'm getting at is a lot of what you used to run for the office was an illusion. The rich people definitely made out with Biden in there. Now, where the Democrats went wrong is they were going to try to tax the rich too much, right? Instead of just saying, hey, let's do it this much. Right. And like the zero tax bill, that's what's killing everything. People walking out with zero tax bills. And again, now it's going to be harder to even police that. Got rid of the my brother. That's one thing my brother says. Why did you get rid of the IRS? You don't know? Well, to him, he said his idea is, all these complex cases and big, it's just going to go by the wayside. You're not going to get your money, your revenue. Well, that's what we use to pay the budget with, the revenues. The revenues are going to be down. The government revenue is going to be down. The corporate earnings are going to be down. 100%. And one day we're just going to be in the golden age, I guess. Without the IRS, you're not going to make any money. In fact, if you tell the world you're decreasing the IRS, crooks will commit more crimes. And then enforcement's going to be down. So just in saying that will decrease the amount of revenue you could receive. I mean, how are you gonna say this is going to say just Biden did that? Just give us time. I mean, 100 days turns into 365 at a certain point. Eh.